over. Especially now with Corona, nobody has an idea of what is going on in their lives, what's happening. So it throws our balance off. And, you know, there's so many different types of people. That's something I've done recently. There's different personality types. And you have people that are extroverts and introverts. You have people that value things from the inside, and other people that look to the outside. There's so many things that exist within us as people, but we still don't know how to bring the best of ourselves out. And that's what I want to do. I really want to help women and young people find the best person that they can be. So today's talk is a little bit about why as women we hold ourselves back and the sort of things that might get in the way. Some of us are aware of it on a conscious level, but sometimes you're not always aware of it on a subconscious level, because there can be like programs running underneath that you've got no idea of, that, you know, hold you back throughout your life. So I'm going to move on to my talk. Before I do, actually, I'll be offering a free consultation going forward, and a 10% discount to anyone that wants to book on to, you know, on with me for my sessions. And if you just quote Mums UnLtd, I'll know to offer that to you. Okay. So I'm just going to share the screen. Bear with me because it's first time I'm doing it. So you'll have to, I'm not the most techie person, I'm afraid, unlike Debbie. Right. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Yep. Brilliant. Okay. So today's talk is about discovering your best self as a woman. Okay. So you may be wondering why I've called my company The Best of Me NLP. What's that all about? The answer is that I spent so much of my life struggling and trying desperately hard to discover who the best of me actually was. I let doubt, stress, lack of confidence get in the way of finding who that best person was. The change for me came slowly, and then it culminated with me discovering NLP, which is why my company's called The Best of Me NLP. So what is NLP? NLP is considered to be the art of excellence. It's also known as the language of the mind. It came about in the 1970s when Richard Bandler and John Grinder carried out a series of observations to see how successful people functioned and obtained excellence in their field. Why were they so good at doing what they did? What was it that they did that was so excellent, that made them top of their fields, made them leaders? So they model these behaviors of these people, you know, the way they carried themselves, the way they talked, how they used language, how they used their body mannerisms, and what they did specifically, what they said specifically to make them excellent in what they do. So N in NLP stands for neuro, which is how we absorb information through our senses and how it affects our mind and our body. L stands for linguistic, which is how we absorb language and make sense of it in a way that's completely unique to us and often based on our own personal experiences. And P is for programming, how certain experiences in our lives can cause us to hold on to things. And then we repeat these behaviors over and over again till they're almost programmed into us. So we run these subconscious programs that hold us back. They can actually be positive programs that we've learned. So they can actually enhance the way we live and the way we work. So, you know, these, you know, it can be either way, to be honest. So these three areas, the neuro, the linguistic, and the programming, create in each of us what we call our map of the world, which is completely unique to us. And it's unique to us because no two people hear the same things or experience the same things. They haven't had the same experiences in life. Everything is completely unique to them. So you'll never have two people with the same map of the world. So it's about appreciating each other's maps of the world and understanding where we're all coming from. So I'd like to put to you now that as women, we often put ourselves last and don't put value on ourselves and on our achievements. Why is that? Could it be because of our experiences, what's happened to us in our past, or the messages that we hear from us, from all around us? And where do we place our value? Where do we find our sense of achievement? Where does it come from? Does it come from within, or do we look externally for validation? So what really matters to us as women? Is it our families, our careers, our finances? Is it having a roof over our head, or friendships? Maybe for some of us, it could be where the next pair of shoes is coming from, or the next scarf, Wendy. Or perhaps peace of mind is the most important thing, and everything pales into insignificance. Everything else pales into insignificance. So in 1943, I'm sure many of you have come across this actually, Abraham Maslow in 1943 created a hierarchy of needs where he theorized about what motivates us. At the bottom of his pyramid, he put the most fundamental needs, you know, the physiological needs, the things you need, which in today's world is so important. You know, air, food, shelter, sleep, clothing, all the basics that we need to survive. And just above that came safety, what we need to feel completely safe, to feel secure, having a job, having good health, having property, all of those things that we find, you know, essential to make us feel completely secure in ourselves. And above that came love and belonging, a need to feel loved, friendship, having a sense of connection with people, with community, all of those things. And assuming all of those three things were in place, he believed that would give us a sense of self-respect and self-esteem. And, you know, we'd feel valued and recognized in who we were. So all those four things, you know, formed his basis of his pyramid. And having got all of these things, he felt after that, we'd reach a stage where we'd look externally and look to other things. So we may look to charity work. We may look to running our first marathon. We may look to going on a round the world cruise, or whatever it is that fulfills us even more. So that was the self-actualization thing. So I wonder how you all see this pyramid, because it may not fall in the same order for you, because you may feel that actually self-esteem matters more to me, because without self-esteem, I'm not going to be able to go to an interview and get through that interview and get a job. Without that job, I may not have the finance. Without the finance, I may not have a house, you know, and food on my table. So many things. Everyone's priorities vary, you know, and it may mean something completely different to you. So your view is completely unique to you. Generally speaking, if we have the 4 big asks, which is having our health, having career in balance, having a good financial stability and relationship, if we have all of these 4 things in flow and they're working for us, we consider ourselves to have a sense of balance, and we feel in control. The reality is that not all of us have all of these areas in balance all of the time. So what does stop us having this balance in our lives? What holds us back? Is it that there's too much going on? Not enough time? Is it fear? Is it fear of doing something that holds us back? Is it insecurities? Could it be our health? Is it health that gets in the way? Or is it not having the skill set that we require to have that balance? So it could be, a variety of reasons. So we touched on how our experiences may affect us and how our mind and body are connected. So do you think it's possible that we hold ourselves back and prevent ourselves from reaching this balance? In the NLP world, there's a belief, or what we call a presupposition, that the mind and body are part of the same system and affect each other. So what's so unusual about that? The answer is the level at which they're connected. So bearing in mind that our senses, our experiences, and language all play a role, how do you think this may affect us in our day-to-day lives? On a conscious level, we might have a problem and we might find something's not quite working. So what do? We just get rid of the obstacle, get on with it, and we're sorted, right? Wrong. Many a time, something else is holding us back. Say, for example, we have our virtual friend here, Samantha. And she's been asked to chair a meeting. Everything is planned and rehearsed. Notes are immaculate. Her clothes are immaculate. Everything is in place. But 10 minutes before the meeting is due to start, Samantha's heart starts to pound. Fear kicks in. She starts to tremble. And boom, the negative thoughts are there. I can't do this, or I'm going to fluff this meeting. It's going to be a disaster. Her mind seems to be working against her. So if the mind and body are one, like we mentioned, why would her mind sabotage her at such a crucial moment? Well, if we go back to what we talked about earlier, about the relevance of our experiences and repetitive behaviors, perhaps Samantha's childhood had been an unhappy one. Perhaps she had heard her parents fighting continually. And when they spoke to her, they would take their anger out on her. You'll never amount to anything. You're good for nothing. What do you think Samantha's belief system would have looked like? Not great, right? Samantha would have absorbed all of these negative signals that she'd got about herself in some way. Over a period of time, these would have manifested and created what was her map of the world. The likelihood is that she would have created a program that would be running subconsciously that would make her feel not good enough. So she may have said messages to herself like, I'll never amount to anything. I'm a failure. I'm no good at this. But we know that everyone's experiences are different and our maps of the world are different. So conversely, you could say that Samantha may have refused to succumb to her family put-downs and instead fought to rise to the top of her company? Well, we'll never know, because unless you're in Samantha's shoes, you wouldn't know how she would react. There's something else that may also get in the way of how we view things, how we may stop ourselves being in balance. Often our behavior, what we do, gets confused with our identity, who we are. If we fail at a task, we start to think of ourselves as a failure. In the NLP world, another belief that we hold is that a person is not his or her behavior. The way we act is not who we are. As a young stay-at-home mum, I found this incredibly difficult. I confused a crying baby with needs that needed attending, with myself not being a good enough mum and being a failure. I confused difficulty with managing young children alongside a business with being inadequate and being a failure. Yet I know now that I was doing everything in my power to do the best I could do under those circumstances with the resources that I had at the time. But my subconscious program told me that I was a failure and it was holding me back. So I'm here today, successful in the various aspects of my life, talking to you about empowerment. How great is that? So you can see how a negative program can lead to a downward spiral, showing us stress, anger, resentment, frustration could show up in so many different ways. Whatever your particular default is. We may be successful because we keep plowing through, but if we are still subconsciously running a not good enough program, the likelihood is that we're not happy. So what small steps can we take to empower ourselves? In a specific scenario like the meeting that Samantha had, you could visualize a positive outcome and feel the positive feelings that would make you feel great in that meeting at that moment. In more general terms, on an ongoing basis, give yourself a break. Change your internal dialogue. Change your internal dialogue so it gets rid of that negative chatter and add in the positives, which embrace your valuable qualities and skills. Have positive affirmations, which recognize your wonderful qualities. Remember why you're doing something. What is your driving passion? What shows you the way? What is your guiding light? Set realistic goals. Don't overstretch yourself. Accept help if you need it. And if something is not working, it's okay to change it. Let your vision be from the inside out, what you want in your world, not what the world wants from you. So I'd like you to try something with me now. I'd like you just to sit back in your chair comfortably and shut your eyes for a moment. And just take a deep breath in to the count of 4. So breathe in for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 2. 1, 2. Out for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In for 2. 1, 2. Just allow your breath to return to normal. And I'd like you to visualize now a color that you feel makes you feel really, really calm. And just visualize this color dancing on the crown of your head and just passing down your forehead, passing down your eyes and down your cheeks, down your chin and your neck, across your shoulders and down your arms, down your chest, calming as it goes, down your stomach and your hips, and down to your legs and your lower legs, down to your feet and your toes, relaxing every part of your body, calming and every little vessel, every little artery as it goes. And I want you now to take a moment and bring to mind one of the important roles you play that is causing you difficulty in your life. Choose something not too big for now. A difficulty, whether it's at home, at work, with friends, wherever. When you've brought this role to your mind's eye, I want you to imagine where you are. What are you doing in this role? What are you wearing? What sounds are there around you? What is causing you stress? What in this role is causing you difficulty and stress? What would you like to change? Now really start to zoom in on what you are saying to yourself. What messages are you sending yourself? Just take a moment to do that now. I want you now to imagine you have a mirror image of yourself facing you. Give this image of yourself a name. Call it whatever you want, or call it your other self. Now, if your other self was the wisest version of you that you know, and only had your best interest at heart, and you trusted this other self implicitly, what would this other self say to you about your difficulty in this role? What would they tell you to change? What would they tell you to do to make this role work in your favor? Would you have to lose something in order for things to be right? I want you now just to take a few moments to create your perfect scenario in this role to resolve this difficulty. Just take a few moments now. Really feel all the positive feelings that are arising from this new outlook. How do you look now? How do you feel now in this new role? Really, really feel from the inside how wonderful you feel. Let all those positive thoughts come flooding in to empower you. I want you to roll your hand up to a fist and really squeeze all these positive thoughts inside. Let them fill you up till you're brimming with positivity, really, really squeezing all of those positive feelings inside and multiply them 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, and let them build and build and build and build till you've got everything you need, everything to get your perfect scenario, and then let go of your fist. In a moment now, I'll count to 5. And at 5, I want you to come back into the room with your eyes wide open, bringing back all those positive processes with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back in the room, bringing all those good processes with you. So you can see by that example, we can learn to change the way we see ourselves and the way we react in difficult situations. We have to change our internal dialogue so that it works for us, not against us. So I'm going to leave you with a few more positives to consider. In difficulty, focus on what you can control. Remember, through your struggle comes value. Find your voice. There is value and worth in what you have to say. Self-worth. I know you have all the resources in place to be the best of you. You just have to learn how to use them. Thank you for listening.
Wow, thanks, Raina.
Thank you.
I need to put this back onto the grid. Fabulous talk, really, really good. I think it's given us all a bit of a boost and a reminder of how important all this stuff is at the moment.